Hey guys, welcome back to astoldbypala. I have a really exciting vlog post planned for today. This is the first official Med Corner vlog, so I'm so excited, and I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do because there's so much that I want to do, but I was like, okay, hold up, buddy, we still got time. So I decided that I'm going to start in more so of a like chronological order with these vlogs. So I'm going to start off with this first vlog telling you guys a little bit about what it's like to be a med student in Poland, because before I can really start getting into how I study, what I do, why I do what I do, I think it's important that you guys understand that I am studying in Poland, and so a lot of things that may pertain to me might not pertain to you. So it's important that there's a little bit of the background before I then delve into a lot of the things that I do here as a med student. So this blog post is all about being a med student in Poland.
Dear sweet Mother of God, we're in Eastern Europe. Excuse me. You speak any English?
You are Americans?
Yeah.
I love America. We just get Miami Vice on television. Hey man, Miami Vice is #1 new show.
Yeah. Listen, we're trying to get to Berlin, Germany. Do you know if there's a train coming anytime soon?
Oh yes, very soon. They are building it now. Stop. Hammer time. Enjoy Bratislava. It's good you came in summer. In winter, it can get very depressing.
A lot of people seem to associate Poland with Eastern Europe, which is not wrong because I mean Poland has been tied to Eastern Europe a lot in terms of history. But one of the first things I need to clarify is that Poland is actually Central Europe. It's not Eastern Europe. I didn't know this prior to coming. There's a lot of things I didn't know. And, you know, that clip that I just showed you of, you know, what I perceived Eastern Europe to be, I kind of a little bit associated it with Poland. Like, I thought it would be really cold and gloomy. Maybe not to the extent of Eurotrip because I'm African, so I'm used to people always thinking the worst of Africa and things that are just like, okay, that doesn't make sense. Like, it's been years. Like, how can we still be at that point? Like, it just doesn't make sense. So I don't think I necessarily expected Poland to be like post, you know, communist area, like immediately post-communist area. Like, I actually expected there to be some development, but I didn't know how much development would be. So I really was just coming in here blind. You know, I had no idea what would happen. So when I first got onto the plane, I arrived in Warsaw, and so I study in a different town, but Warsaw was the first place I saw. And when we got into the city, I was like, damn, literally, damn, this is a city. Like, there are skyscrapers. It's an actual city. Like, what is everybody talking about? And I was like, I'm really actually surprised because I did not expect this whatsoever. So that's one of the first things that I just need to put out there is that I don't think people give Poland enough credit for where they are. Yes, there's still things that they need to improve, and you still do see every now and then places that are remnants of their communist background and their German background. But I think for the most part, I'm quite impressed by how far Poland has come given their history. That said, another thing that people tend to forget when I say I'm studying in Poland is that Poland is part of the EU. So that made really it was one of the main factors that caused me to come to Poland actually. just because I knew having an EU degree would mean it opens up a lot of doors in terms of where I can go and do my residency. And I would know that, apart from the fact that, yes, I can possibly work in Poland, I knew there was a lot of other places I was open to work in. And it isn't the same as, like, for instance, a US degree. US degree, you work in the US and then you have to kind of go through every other country's system to get somewhere. Whereas in Europe, you've got a degree that's pretty much accepted by a whole bunch of countries, and you might have to take one or two, internal exams, but it's not that much more, work that you need to do in order to get to that point. So that, without a doubt, was one of the biggest things for me. Another thing that I really love about Poland being part of the EU is that I get to travel. Like, I love, love, love traveling around, but I never really get the time or the opportunity to, because it's either I'm in school and there's not enough time for me to take off, or it's too expensive to take a ticket to go across the world for such a short holiday. So many factors, but the fact that I'm in a country where my residence permit is EU accepted and I can travel to most European countries, not all, those that are in the Schengen agreement, is amazing. And the fact that I can hop onto a train and be in a different country, or hop onto a flight and be in a different country in 2 hours, is just great. Like, last month I went to my friend's wedding in London, and it was like a 2 hour flight away from here. So yeah, things like that. Speaking of that wedding, I'm gonna put up a post about that, so you should check it out. First Indian wedding I've ever been to. Amazing. But yeah, back to what I was saying. It's really amazing because, if you love to travel and you love taking in different cultures, Europe is really where it's at. Even if you can't get out to travel to other countries, it has a lot of its own places that it offers a good, getaway, or like holiday vacation. For example, at Gdansk. I've never been to Gdansk, but I've heard it's a beautiful portside town that a lot of people go to during the beach time. And then you've got a place like Krakow. I've been to Krakow, very cute town, beautiful for strolling around. But not only that, it's home to Auschwitz, one of the most, if not the most famous Nazi concentration camp. And then you've got even Schindler's Factory. Those of you who have seen Schindler's List will know what I'm talking about. So Krakow is full of a lot of culture. And like that, I would recommend going to Krakow during the spring when the weather is nice enough to stroll around. And then you've got places like Zakopane. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Oh, yeah, Polish is very hard, but that's more so ski resorts, so a good winter getaway. And then you've got Warsaw. Warsaw's like, you can go there anytime for a city getaway or a weekend break. So Poland itself has a lot to offer in terms of, holiday retreats. So anybody that's considering coming to Poland and is worried that, it might be a little bit like not much to do, there's plenty to do. This is a very big country. If you look at it on the map, geographically, it's pretty big. So, that should leave enough to your imagination. Also, there's, I think, almost 40,000 people that live here. So, yeah, you'll be okay. You'll be okay. The other thing, while we're on the topic of holidays, that I love about Poland is that it's a very Catholic country. What do I mean by that? I mean, most Catholic, days that we might see in our calendars, like back home, is an actual holiday. Yes. So, like, All Saints Day is like an actual public holiday. So you have a lot of good long weekends to get away. Another thing that I really, really like about Poland is that it's really cheap to live here. I'm talking food, I'm talking accommodation, I'm talking, weekly living costs. And most importantly, tuition for me was a big factor in why I came here, because the tuition is comparably a lot cheaper than some of the other schools that I was considering. So for me, the living cost definitely is a big, big pro. The other thing is, a lot of people have asked me, how are you studying in Poland? Are you studying in English? Yes, that is a pro. I don't know why exactly there are a lot of universities in Poland with English programs or English divisions of their med schools. It might have to do with the fact that there's so many, Polish Americans. Maybe that's why. I'm not too sure, but that is a pro to being in Poland is that there's a lot of English division schools in most cities. So Krakow, Poznan, Warsaw, Wrocław. I don't know if I'm saying that right. So yeah, there's a lot. There's really a lot of options, and I guess that's one of the nicer things in that you will also get to meet students from lots of places. For example, in my school, we have predominantly, I think, I want to say Middle Eastern and Norwegians. So I think they make up the most of our school. But then we have a lot of other people from like Malaysia, from India, from the US, from Canada, from Ireland, you name it. There's so many places. I can't even name every country that's represented in our class because that would just take too long. But that's definitely a pro. That said, because we are in the EU and because most of the students are not Americans, I'd say a good amount are Americans, but not most of them are. There is an issue in terms of where you want to practice post your medical degree. So the school will cater mostly to the Polish curriculum and to the European Union curriculum. And they try with the US curriculum because we do take NBMEs. But for instance, I've spoken to people in other universities, and some of their schools are more geared to the US curriculum. So I think that's one of the cons for my own school, anyways, is that it could be a little bit more geared to the US curriculum. That said, I understand why it's not, because it's just kind of, it's hard to please everybody when everybody's from different countries and they're going to go back to different countries. So I think if you're considering going to school in Poland, that's something you should definitely research is which school will give you the best training opportunities depending on where you want to go when you graduate. So like if you're American and you're planning on going back to America, focus your application process on the school that gears students mostly to the American curriculum. That said, I am considering applying to America. Actually, I'm not even considering. It's probably at the moment one of my top guns. So it's a lot of self-study that I do, and that is a real con. So if there's one thing that I can say, it's probably got to be that is maybe one of my bigger cons being here in Poland.